Welcome to the MLB Prop Pick Show, powered by the Bat X. I'm Jon Metler. He's Josh Inglis. No Derek Carty today because we don't have any games today, but we do have the NLDS and ALDS starting tomorrow, so we're going to preview those. Before we move on, wild card round 3, game 3s yesterday. Tigers advance, Yankees advance, and why am I blanking on the other team that advanced? The Cubs advance yesterday in game 3 there. Jingles, any takeaways from those game 3s that you saw or moving forward or anything?
Gonna skate right past you, butchering my last name as Ingles, not Inglis. But hey,
Inglis?
you get used to it. We can't all have perfectly phonetically said names like Metler. Nothing. Your name has never been butchered, I'd assume, right?
Oh, I get Meltler a lot.
Meltler.
Yeah.
That's dyslexic people trying to read your name.
What was yours again? Say it again.
Ingles, like jingles,
Ingles?
like Pringles.
Jingles. I always thought it was Inglis. It's
Nope.
Ciccone again, all over again.
It's all over again. We were talking about the J-Ram stuff. Like, he was in every situation just to get walked. 3-0 and then 3-0 and then not 3-0 and then 3-0, and he somehow doesn't work away with a walk, and he took some ozone swings in the first and second at bat, and the third at bat I was huddled in my kids' open house at the book fair in the corner, and my son's like, "Hey, what about this book?" I'm like, "Shh." J-Ram at bat. And then poop. Sometimes you get a good bet, and sometimes it doesn't go that way. That closed plus, it was plus 150 bet 365, closed minus 130.
Yeah, I was watching the game, obviously, and they were trying to walk him every single at bat. It was 3-0. Honestly, we were talking about this before. I honestly think he was just looking at it like classic Jingles. I think he was looking at it as, if I walk, we're not going to do anything. I need to hit for like doubles and home runs and power because there's nobody behind me. That's what it looked like. We were joking. It looked like, the slow pitch where you get a ball and you're like, I'll just swing at this ball, so at least maybe I'll get one strike I can swing at. That kind of looked like what he was doing. I just don't think he wanted to walk, but they were, every count, what was it, 3 of the 4, they started 3-0. They like completely, like, it was so obvious they were pitching around him, and then they would try to like bite the corners, and he was swinging at not pitches that weren't strikes. So
Alex Cora leaving a rookie pitcher in to get absolutely nuked is it just shows the variance in this, right? Like, we're laughing at managers doing dumb things, and you saw Voit take out Ciccone early, right? Like, super early. And that was just like, any runners on, he's like, yeah, he's coming out. And that's what we saw in the Cleveland. But what they did in Boston was an absolute embarrassment and probably hurt that kid's confidence going forward. But Alex Cora outmanaged by Boone, which is hard to do, but they move on. And as a Jays fan, I'm still terrified of that bullpen.
Well, Aaron Boone didn't even have to manage. Cam Schlittler just went out there and threw darts the whole way, went 8 innings strong. Like, I mean, he saved him. He honestly kind of saved him. Like, he didn't even have to make decisions. There's no, your bullpen's also gassed. They pitched 3 straight, or they would have pitched 3 straight days, and then you didn't even have to go to them. They just went David Bednar in the 9th. So, I mean, he bailed them out. Conley early, I don't know if you're watching or you're kind of more like in the box for there. He kind of like got pretty unlucky too. It's not like they were like lining up, like hitting barrels off him. Like the Bellinger one probably should have been caught. Then you have 2 seeing eye ground balls, and then low with the error. It's kind of like, and then he was also striking out guys. I don't know. I had Red Sox in my line, so I was pissed he was in the game for that long too. But like, yeah, it's been the 3 straight parlays here for me, and then I've gone 9-2 on the money lines in the parlays. I've gone 1-2 on the straight bets that I've given out for the money line.
Like, people in chat, same thing. Like, playoff baseball is an absolute grind. Like, you think betting 162 games is tough in the MLB season? No, that's easy compared to like trying to navigate 9.5 out totals, 11.5 out totals. I don't know. We got the Jameson Tile. We didn't get the walk, sadly, on that one, but I still think the walk over 0.5 walks at minus 105 or minus 125 or better in that spot was a good one. When he went 4 innings, I don't know. We're looking at a board here, Johnny, that doesn't have a lot of pitchers even listed yet. And teams haven't even announced their postseason rosters of 26 people. So should be an interesting little board here.
Yeah, let's get into it. We'll go to the first NLDS series. We'll go in the order that they're going to play tomorrow. So we're looking Brewers, Cubs. Brewers minus 116 favorites on the series price. Cubs even money, so small favorite. You like a pitcher to go under strikeout props. The only pitcher who's listed. You want to break this one down?
It's a big number. And I got hosed on Crochet. I got hosed on Scooble. But this is, I think this is a better spot with Peralta here at 6.5. His out total's at 14.5. Is he going to be that dominant versus a Cubs lineup that saw Darvish for 1 inning, that took Cease for 3.2 innings and saw some very long at bats? Pavetta did go 85, but he went just 5 innings. Big number for a guy, like I said, with a 14.5 out total. Went just 44 pitches in 2 innings in his tune-up. 4 innings pitched and 68 pitches last year in game 2 in the wild card round. 3 postseason starts, 4 innings, 5 innings, 4 innings pitched, and 5 Ks in each, and never going obviously over this total, not even touching the 6. So if anything, I would expect this total to fall just because of the size of it and what we're seeing with starting pitchers. I don't know how we're going to see managers run this team, but we know that Milwaukee is a team that's here not based on elite pitching, more of a team of depth pitching and defense. So 6.5, big number for a Chicago offense that, I mean, has seen a lot of pitching already. And then we get the rest versus rust factor coming in these series as well, John.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about all those low pitcher outs totals yesterday is the 2 rookies in the Red Sox Yankees game are the ones who fly over Conley early and Cam Schlittler, and then you got like someone like you, Darvish. You're like, he's a vet, he's been here before, like he'll battle through. And when he's pulled in the first inning, like that's just I was like, man, no way these 2 rookies are the ones who are going deep in the game, especially Schlittler at 8 innings. That was crazy. But
and Bobby Newport is sniffing how well I've been doing on the pitcher K prop. He's like, so under 6.5. So we ladder him to 15. Yes, that's probably the plus EV move for sure.
I was looking at the series price for this one. I don't know. I thought it was pretty close. I felt like all the series prices honestly were pretty close. I didn't think there was anything too crazy. Cubs haven't even announced first starter. We're trying to figure out who that might be. Maybe Colin Ray out of the. I think he's moved to the bullpen, but like Cade Horton's on the IL. They don't really have a 4th starter. Maybe it's Matt Boyd on short rest because he only threw a couple innings. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks there. Freddie Peralta is the only listed starter there. Any other thoughts on this series, or you want to move on to the next one?
Colin Ray, I would assume would if he does start something like at 9.5 for an out total, I'd look somewhere right. This 9.5 is the safe one for books to put out, right? Like coming out for the 4th now is the difficult thing, but it could go straight. I don't know, straight bullpen game, and then Boyd. Like you got to get the best of Boyd, right? You get the best of Boyd, and then you're probably set up. I assume the way it should be, you should be set up for games 2, 3, and 4 with your games 1, 2, and 3 starters, which aren't terrible for the Cubs, but that's the way it probably goes for there. Like if you can win, that's the thing. If you can win game 1 on the road with a bullpen, like you are all of a sudden that 1-0 lead looks a lot bigger.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm gonna get to when we get to that Tigers Mariners series. But I think Boyd also has a really crazy splits. I think he's way better at home, right? I think I got that correct. I think he's like just over a 2 ERA at home, and like on the road he's way worse. So I don't know if that will be a factor for them. I don't know if they'll even be looking at that. But yeah, this is I kind of like the Cubs maybe a little bit in the series, but I just don't know who's starting. I don't know what their game plan is. So I mean, they didn't throw at many other guys for many innings, so it's hard to know. So we'll move on to the next series. I feel like you got some opinions on this one. Yankees, Blue Jays. Yankees minus 156 favorite to win the series.
But Jay's favored in the first game.
Favored in the first game. So we don't really know the starting pitchers here. We're guessing it's Shane Bieber or Gausman. I think we're leaning more towards Gausman is what we're thinking there.
I'm leaning Bieber, but
oh no, yeah, sorry, Bieber. I meant Bieber. Yeah, you were breaking that down earlier. And then we're thinking Luis Gil, Will Warren is kind of what you'll see from the Yankees. We're not entirely sure there. I'm assuming Max Fried will be like game 2, game 5 is kind of what they're going to be looking at there.
I don't think game five would be 4 days.
Well, I think you got to.
Then you could do
days.
it. That's fine. Yeah. But like it does look like an angle. If you think that Max Fried's going to go game 2, game 5, then maybe he has like an 80 pitch count in game 1. But who knows? They could throw them out there too, right? Like it's all on the line. Like we saw Garrett Crochet warming up, getting ready, maybe going into the bullpen in yesterday's game after throwing 190 pitches.
Yeah, because last year the Tigers, they were in the same spot and they used Scooble game 2 in Cleveland, and then he came back game 5 short rest, and they're pretty cautious with him. So I feel like someone like a Max Fried or those guys, I think pretty much you're going short rest there. Nick Porro saying, can you waste your bullpen in game 1 with a bullpen game? I think the huge part in this series versus last series is it's game 1, game 2, day off, then you travel. Where like last in the wild cards, 3 games in a row, right? Throwing guys for 3 games in a row, that's kind of tough there. But
Chris McCauley saying Bieber threw in yesterday's stupid inter-squad game. That's so strange. I didn't even see that. Thank you. That probably lines up Gausman for game 1. That sucks because unless you can go Bieber, no, you can't. Gausman, I don't know. Bieber didn't see the Yankees this year. Gausman is a 2-pitch pitcher basically, who when that splitter doesn't split and guys spit on it, isn't the greatest of pitchers. And he did not look great in game 162. That was for sure. Do I trust both pitchers? Yes. But do I think Bieber was a better pitcher down the stretch? Absolutely.
You have 2 bets for this one. You want to get to both of them, and go ahead.
Jay's first 5 money line. Not the game money line. No. Why? Because I am still terrified of the bullpen advantage that the Yankees have in this spot. Terrified. Bednar, Williams, Weaver, Duvall, Hill, Cruz, maybe all better than the entire Jays bullpen right now. I mean, right now we're like, Domingo, you're like, that's our guy. That's our best guy. And he can be a walk machine. Hoffman is an absolute roller coaster. And I just think that handicapping this in the first 5 innings is probably the best spot when we have Will Warren or Luis Gil. Luis Gil just saw them on September 6th. I think it was around 5 innings, 1 run in 6 innings. And then Will Warren was rocked for 8 runs versus the Jays on July 2nd in Toronto. The roof's going to be closed. It's getting a little chilly here now. No Bo. We know that for this series, but we'll see how the roster gets put out. If they go 13 players and 13 arms in the bullpen, we'll see which pitcher doesn't get there. But earlier in the series, earlier in this game, I think the Jays have an advantage. Should be an absolute crazy crowd too. So they'll have the starting pitcher advantage. And I think with this as the same price as the full game money line, and then you still get the push factor here, I think that's where the edge lies. This should be a little shorter than the full game with the advantage that they have. And let's go the other way. Judge for no walks. No walks, you say, Josh. Yesterday you wanted walks? Yeah. He had 0 walks in the Boston series. This is a guy who has 61 games in the postseason. 61! Terrifying hitter. Best hitter of our generation. 1 intentional walk over that stretch. Same walk percentage in the postseason as he does in the regular season. Guys pitch to him. Guys absolutely pitch to him. And I think this is a good spot. Gausman worries me a little more in this spot because of that splitter can miss. That's scary. But if it's Bieber, I like this even more. But plus 105 in a spot where I think the market just assumes that he's going to get his walks. This is a dangerous hitter. He's going to get his walks, where I think the data shows that guys aren't just putting him on. So 4 at-bats. We haven't seen him get walked in a series that Boston was. Did Boston win game 1?
Yeah.
So Boston won game 1, where they could have put him on in a couple spots. Let's go, Judge. Ball in play. Maybe we can less sweat that than the other one, right? Like first pitch swinging. Like let's not get to 3 ball counts.
If Gausman's going game 1, like Bieber I know he was off for a while, like a year with an injury, and he came back. Wouldn't it make more sense to have Bieber game 1 and Gausman game 2, and then when you go game 5, you're probably going to use both. You might use both. Yeah. And like Gausman would be on short rest versus Bieber. I mean, I don't know where they are.
This front office makes terrible decisions when it comes to their rotation. They got Bassett back, but like I'd have Bieber's your guy number 1. Yeah. That's my thing. Right. And then you don't really have to push him, right? Because he's going to be your game 5 guy, and he's on super extra rest. He's on 7 days rest, whereas our boy Gausman pitched on the Sunday and Bieber pitched on the Friday. You Savage game 2. Whoa, McCauley coming out of field. 3. Whoa, that's nuts.
That would be interesting.
I like it. I like it. But yeah, I'm Bieber for game 1. I would have said, yeah, if Bieber's not game 2, that's crazy. But I do like a hot take, and you Savage for game 2 because I think it should line up Gausman and you Savage and Bieber for the 3 guys.
We don't have actual bets on the series, but if you had to take a series price,
plus money with home field advantage.
Yeah, I know. Me too. That's how I feel. I know no Bo Bichette, that really hurts. their lineup at plus 132 with 3 of the 5 games at home. And like the Yankees coming off of, it's not like the Yankees. To me, the Dodgers thing is way different. You knock out the Reds easily. You barely even use your bullpen. You're lining up Ohtani game 1.
Yeah.
Like if they had Max Fried going game 1, sure, but it's like Luis Gil. I don't know. I the plus 132 for kind of stands out. I mean, I'm not betting it, but that's the side I would lean towards too. Let's move Phillies Dodgers here. Same thing. Phillies, the higher seed, not favored in the series price, plus 106. Dodgers minus 124. I feel like I actually like the Dodgers series price here. I think it should maybe be like minus 135. No crazy edges. I mean, it's the postseason. You're not really going to see any massive edges here. I'm personally not going to bet the series price. I'm going to attack it a different way, but you have 2 pitcher props. Let's get to the pitcher props first.
Yay, pitcher props are out. And let's double up on a pair of under outs. 14.5. You say Josh Ohtani got up to 91 pitches in his last start. He was dealing. I think he no-hit Philly in his one of his last 3 starts. But plus 145. Plus 145. That is the number. That's the circle. That's the handicap right there. Sometimes we get too worried about, well, what did he do in his last 5 at home with these same temperatures and dew points? No. How about just a good old plus 145 for a pitcher who's never pitched in the postseason and is the most important person on this team with a checkered injury past? Let's not forget it's Dave Roberts, who we know can obviously pull guys quick, and arrested bullpen. 145 to the moon. There you go. Simple and sweet. On to that one. And here's another one. Pretty simple too. Here's just a giant number, 17.5, Josh. Is this the regular season? No. We got that now at minus 115. That's the number now. We're going to go with the minus 115. So apologize for the plus 109. Not available, but 17.5. Someone said, hey, his home splits are fantastic. Guess what? This is the postseason. Guess what? This is the Dodgers. They can see a lot of pitches. And right now, I will take any pitcher at 17.5 outs, except maybe Skubal. And that's the only one. Every other pitcher, I'm happy to take this number, especially around a reasonable minus 115, minus 120. The bat numbers aren't out, but I can guarantee you that the projection for that is going to be sub 17.5. It's their early plays. I get it. But like Sanchez, 5 innings pitched, 88 pitches in game 2 divisional series last year, 38 pitches in the NLCS game 4 the year before that. Doesn't have a big history. And it's like, yes, he's been awesome this year, but this is a new world, right? At home. And I think there's more pressure for these guys at home than the guys on the road, because the guy at home gets to throw that first pitch, lets that game breathe, right? That's the hardest part, especially going from like the anthem into everything. It hypes up, and then boom. I'd much rather be the road pitcher in game 1 because you get a half inning settle down into the game.
Yeah, you mentioned the rest versus rust thing, and that's going to kind of play into my bet here too. I'm going Dodgers money line plus 106. I grabbed this at FanDuel for game 1. You've seen it be a huge factor the last couple postseasons. I feel like the Dodgers caught a really good spot because they didn't have to sit out and wait the whole week, and they basically didn't play a series either against the Reds. So they still got to keep playing. They didn't like have to sit, but they also didn't have to like leverage all their high arms, all their best arms, and like fatigue everyone. And their offense was also rolling against the Reds. They scored 10 and 8 runs. So like they got to be coming into this pretty like confident. You're talking about Ohtani. Ohtani's been really good on the mound, but like rested bullpen, everyone behind him. What stood out to me too is Ohtani against lefties actually been tougher against lefties. And if you can take out Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, that Phillies offense looks way different. And they only have a handful of at-bats against him, but they haven't done anything. So I like that. And then you look at the Dodgers lineup. Christopher Sanchez is obviously a really, really good pitcher, but the Dodgers had the 3rd highest weighted runs created plus, if you like that stat, against lefties this season. I think what stands out too with the Dodgers is like Ohtani, Freeman, Will Smith, all their lefties hit lefties, and then all their right-handed bats are significantly better against left-handed pitching. So I just felt like at plus money, I think the Dodgers are the better team. I think they're gonna win this series. Like I said, I like the series price, but I decided to go for the money line because I mean, if they don't win game 1, I don't really want minus 124 with the series price anyway. So they may as well win game 1. Not much of an edge. I thought it should be like minus 110, grabbed it plus 106. So, and like Hal saying in the chat there, having no Wheeler, I think is really going to hurt the Phillies. I mean, I think that's why they're dogs in this.
I don't think Aaron Nola was great down the stretch either, right?
No, like they're probably going to throw 3 lefties, right? Suarez, why why am I blanking? Sanchez and then Luzardo. And
so where's sorry, help me out, chat. Now, Tommy Edman, right-handed swinger. Is he right side faces lefties, crushes lefties, or is he left side crushes righties? Because Tommy Edman is, I mean, he was the NLCS MVP last year, and he got hot. I'm trying to think about which angle he is, because when he's facing his strong side, if he's right side facing 3 lefty starters in a row, then he's going to have lots of bats. So his props would pop, but I think he's the other way. I think he's left-handed swinging facing right-handed pitchers.
I'm not entirely sure about that one. I know like Andy Pages and Teoscar Hernandez. Like Teoscar Hernandez, he was also raking in the first series, and they're both two guys who hit lefties really well. So then they always have Kiki Hernandez off the bench who hits lefties. So what is Tommy Edmonds? Is he? He's not switch, is he?
Yeah, he's switch, but he's predominantly stronger on one side.
I was gonna say I thought he was switch.
No, we'll go through it. So what would you think?
His splits aren't great either. So.
No. What would you think? Sorry. What would you think if I got a price for Ohtani not to get a win, so doesn't get to the 15 out mark, and then Dodgers money line, right? You think he might be able to get a greasy? There's Edmund 230 versus righties, 216 versus lefties. So he faces, I think he's righties. I mean, that's this year.
Yeah. Well, his out mark was 14.5, right? So they're not even expecting him to go 5 to even qualify for the win.
What number do you think? You think you could tweak the multiplier there and grease out a good number on the SGP, or what? If I said plus 240 was the number, would you think that's not good enough?
Oh, I think that's good enough, because is it plus 240?
Yeah.
Well, if the total's sitting at 14.5, he almost says, like they're saying, he probably won't even qualify for the win.
Yes, that's the angle. But I was surprised to see. I thought you'd see north.
And that, I guess the thought there too is, if you would typically do that, there's a chance like the starting pitcher gets hit bad and then like he gets shelled, then he gets pulled, but then you're losing the game, so you're not really going to win the game. But this is more or less just Ohtani won't go 5 innings. Like it could be 4 shutout ball, right? And then the Dodgers are up 2-0 and he pitches 4 innings.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Last year he hit 412 against lefties with small sample. Thank you, Nick Porto. That's the size. So yes. So if he's lined up to face a lot of lefty starters, I mean, if you can go out and find some Tommy Edman props, because he absolutely crushed one side, and now realizing it was versus lefties as a right-handed guy. Appreciate you there, Bobby Newport. Thanks, buddy. That will be an interesting one to look at. And then there's MVP prices for the next series, because you do have
NLCS.
The CS MVPs. Certainly one to look at, because I believe Tommy Edman last year, because there's not a big narrative behind it, so you can get like those strange guys because like no one's reporting on it. But like the World Series MVP, that's when all the writers, that's when you obviously, the Freddie Freeman situation, it's so gorgeous, like let's finally get Freddie Freeman something. No, there's lots of value on the ALCS and NLCS MVP markets.
I know you're not betting a series price here, but if you had to pick one, Phillies or Dodgers?
I just don't feel like there's a Dodgers tax involved. There is a Dodgers tax involved, but the Philly, I throw away the record. I do. Like it's give me a manager who's managed probably more games in the postseason than anybody in baseball right now that's still coaching, and Ohtani. It's like you got Ohtani in 2 games.
Yeah, like you just go up and down the lineup too, like the Dodgers lineup versus the Phillies. Again, I think if Zach Wheeler was healthy, I think it's a totally different story. You have home field, but it's one of those, like the Phillies had the better record, so like they look like the better team. But I think the Dodgers are probably the best team left in baseball. That's just
Ohtani sweeper. You were saying his numbers are good versus lefties, but like that sweeper versus lefties is nasty. Like that can get on your hands quick. And like I've heard you say, and it's obviously true, that the path to pitching against this Phillies team is to quiet the left-handed bats. I mean, that's not like a deep handicap or anything, but like if you can, then that's an edge that you certainly have versus that lineup.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers plus 106 my line. Move to the last series here. Tigers, Mariners. Tigers get it done. Take out the Guardians, who are we have Bader though. Harrison Bader. Was he listed as on the wrong team for like a week ago when we were trying to do props? He's still in the Twins at a sports book. Yeah. last series, Tigers, Mariners. Tigers knock out the Guardians. Guardians, they're like the worst team to ever make the playoffs, but somehow they almost squeaked by the Tigers because the Tigers, I don't think, are that great either. But Mariners minus 172 favorites. Tigers plus 146 as the dogs. You were talking earlier. This is what I kind of wanted to bring up for this one is you're talking about if you win game one with a bullpen, that becomes very scary for the other team in this series. The Tigers are going to go out. They're going to use a bullpen. There's no starter announced because there is no starter to be announced. They're definitely using a bullpen. The Mariners, we don't know. Brian Wu was kind of had a pectoral injury, and then he threw a bullpen. They said he's good, so I don't know if he's starting game one or Logan Gilbert or how they're going to go. I think that's just kind of what you're waiting for there. I think this sets up actually really scary for the Mariners. I don't think the Tigers are nearly as good as the Mariners. I'm not going to say like they're my favorite team. I'm not going to pretend like they are better than the Mariners, but if they somehow steal game one and then you're game two Scooble, and then you got to go back to Detroit after facing Scooble, and you're going to Detroit for 2 games, and then if you get survival that, then you go back game 5, it's Scooble again. Like the fact that your home field advantage is 3 of the 5 games at home and 2 of the 3 are going to be Scooble, it's kind of like that's got to terrify you a little bit. And like Scooble, if you want another just side narrative angle, like he went to Seattle universities. He played in Seattle for multiple years. That's where he played college ball. So he's pretty excited. He was talking about that to go and play the Mariners. So plus 146. Jingles, what do you think about this series?
I don't know. I think Seattle's super overvalued. And I think it's just we just say the same talking point. Look at that rotation. Look at that lineup. But yeah, they kind of got hot down the stretch, but it doesn't in a 5-game series. It doesn't translate. A lineup and a rotation translates over 162 game sample. It doesn't translate over this. You can go on a 5-game slump as a hitter, right? You can't just assume that everything's going to go well. And Detroit has done very well as being a scrappy team to play against that takes good at bats. That I think Detroit's lineup is so funny in that it's not like it's the most dangerous lineup, but there isn't. It's almost like you're facing the same guy
Yeah.
outside of someone with some pop in Spencer Torkelson, right? Like Riley Green and guys all down that list all seem to be the same type of hitter with the same statures. It's funny how that lineup works, and it makes pitchers work. I think that confidence in baseball is one of the most important things. And if Detroit throws that first punch, Seattle could just fold. They have the home. They got home field. They're awesome. They went from 10-1 to being the betting favorite almost in the AL. And it could be nothing. You have to take your lumps. And I don't think I'm ready to bet on Seattle yet.
Yeah, I thought the Mariners would be a lot shorter on the price, and I thought I'd be like, oh, the Mariners are a good price here. But when they opened them in this minus 170 range, I was like, yeah, that's higher than I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be I don't know, minus 140. I didn't think there'd be that much Mariners love because the Tigers at one point were the 1 seed. You have Scooble, all that, but like Seth's saying, the Tigers put together quality at bats all day. The funny thing about them not scoring against the Guardians is they had traffic every single game. So much. Everyone was getting on base, walking, singles. I mean, they didn't hit for much power, but when you get that much traffic, you would think you would score. They just weren't converting.
Wind was blowing in pretty heavily at Progressive Field for that series too, right?
Say I missed the first part.
The wind was blowing in.
Wind, yeah. The wind was one day was blowing in 30 miles per hour. So yeah, I was looking at it too, and the Tigers have really good numbers against George Kirby and Logan Gilbert. So it's kind of interesting. I just feel like it sets up if the Mariners have to get game 1, otherwise I think that totally flips that series. If the Tigers get game 1, man, that.
But if you followed Seattle and what they do with that rotation, you're like Logan Gilbert goes 19 outs. So that doesn't exist in the postseason. It's almost set up now that the Detroit Tigers have become the Florida Panthers of playoff hockey, where they just know how to play this new age game where it's we slow the game down, you get traffic, we're going to make a pitching change, we're going to kill your momentum, we're going to slow it down. You could see 7 arms in a game, right? You're not going to get comfortable and see the same guy twice outside of Scooble, and that still doesn't mean anything. And that's just what we're seeing works in baseball if you can get that. So Tigers are adapting, and they seem to be the one in charge of how these games kind of go these days.
Yeah, that's the always thing that's giving me hope with them is I feel like the whole regular season they play like you would in the tournaments or in the postseason. So they're a good tournament team. So
Cleveland,
yeah, Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting. I mean, I'm not placing bets on this series price here, but I'm just, if the Mariners aren't ready game one, that series, that minus 172 is going to look a lot different going into game two.
Yeah. It's one or two hits in certain spots in that Detroit series. Detroit could have blown out Cleveland big time.
So that's saying Detroit game one money line at plus 185. My thought with the Detroit, I don't do much live betting, Seth, but my thought is if Detroit can get through like those first 3-4 innings with Kyler Montero or whoever or Troy Melton, or it's both of them for 2 innings each. If it's like through the fourth and it's still tied and like they're still trading around that plus 180, or even if they're down 1-0, if it's a close game and they're still a huge plus price, once they turn it over to like Troy Holton or Troy Holton, Brant Herter, Rockies first base in there. Once they start going to the more of the back in the bullpen, if it's still plus price, I'd be pretty interested in the Tigers. I'd just be concerned about those first like 4 innings where you got to get through. They don't have a starting pitcher and Montero and like those guys. If you get through those guys and all of a sudden it's like 4th, 5th inning, might be worth a look. I don't do much live betting, but honestly, I might there. Jingles, any final closing thoughts before we close out the show for the LDS?
No, I'm looking at Darren Fox. I'm trying to Google search. I'm trying to search in the X Stanton, but I didn't see it. Did you touch on Stanton's premature celebration? Nothing's coming up if I search Stanton.
Oh yeah, he smoked. If you didn't see it, he smoked the ball.
Oh, a home run.
Oh, he didn't hit a home run. It hit the wall, and he was turning and celebrating and jumping up and down. And then all of a sudden, he had to run to second base, which also I don't know how Jarren Duran does not get thrown out. I mean, it hit the wall a little funny, but like Stanton can't run. But yeah, that was one of those. We were bringing up yesterday. I was like, it's a really bad night for fly balls. The air pressure was really high, and that definitely helped there. Because when Stanton off the bat, I was like, oh, it's gone, and then it hit the wall. I was like, oh, I thought it was gone too. But yeah,
I did hit every game under 2.5 home runs for like a plus 500 yesterday, and I might just keep going that if they're going to give me 2.5s. I know game one might be tough with all these random bullpen starters, but I think I'm just going to keep it going. It's a fun way to bet baseball too. It sounds lame and masochistic, but yeah, under 2.5 home runs, why not? Even though we have indoor games.
All right, those are the 6 bets we have for you for game 1 at ALDS, NLDS. Keep your eyes peeled on our X accounts, because at Jon Metler, at covers Josh, because obviously as these starting pitchers get announced, we might throw out more bets. There might be a couple more bets. Who knows? Once we see more of the markets and get more confirmed starters there. So keep your eyes peeled for those. We will be back Monday, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. Those will be game 2, I think, of the NLDS. I know it's the 2 NLDS games. Good luck with your bets. Enjoy your weekend. Make sure to check out all the football content as well on the Covers YouTube channel. Enjoy postseason baseball. Enjoy your weekend.